She was one of the first women in North America to pioneer the acceptance of women in ministry. She was known as the trans evangelist, and she led a number of revivals that made lasting impact. Lives were changed, people were healed because of the power of God that was working through her. Her name is Woodworth-Etter, and this is her story. When Mariah decided to be in ministry, she sought to be ordained by a group in Ohio. And because of her persistence, they ended up ordaining her. But when they saw that she wasn't going away, they sent her to a location called the Devil's Den. Now many attempted to start revivals in that location but never succeeded. Now they sent Mariah there because they did not recognize the power that was working within her. Now when Mariah arrived there, many attended her revival, but for one reason, because she was a woman preaching. And that was not common at all at the time. But what ended up happening was that Mariah established a church with more than 200 people. And this changed the view of many people who were against her in the beginning. Now Mariah began to grow, and so did her revival meetings. So during this time, Mariah's revival meetings began to grow. Her meetings will go from 7 weeks to 7 months, from morning all the way to the night. During Mariah's meetings, we would see unusual manifestations of God's power. People would be slain under the Spirit. Demons would get cast out, deliverance would take place. But one of the unique things about Mariah's meetings was that people would fall into a trance-like state for hours and sometimes for days. There's this testimony of this young boy of the age of 13 who explained his experience this way. He said, "Oh, it was lovely. I thought that I was taken away up in the air, someplace where there was sweet music all the time. There were angels flying around, and they had big white wings and had a long white gown. Their faces shone bright like gold, and in the middle of them stood Jesus. His face and form were so bright that it would hurt your eyes to look at him. Way down below, there was a great big crowd of people, and they seemed to be waiting for the world to come to an end. They looked so bright and happy, and the angels seemed to be so glad all the time. I want to see again." Regardless of this encounter, people still thought that Mariah was doing the work of the devil. Many criticized her meetings, many things were written about her, many negative newsletters came out trying to give an explanation of what was happening during her meetings. People were calling it a contagious or infectious epidemic. But Mariah did not allow this to stop the work that God was doing through her. In 1883 in Fairview, Ohio, Mariah said, "I felt impressed. God was going to restore love and harmony in the church. All people came to the altar, made a full consecration, and prayed for a baptism of the Holy Ghost and fire. That night it came. 15 came to the altar screaming for mercy. Men and women fell and lay like dead. I felt it was the work of God, but did not know how to explain it or what to say. I was a little frightened. After laying for 2 hours, all, one after another, sprang to their feet as quick as a flash, with shining faces, and shouted all over the house. I had never seen such bright conversation or such shouting. The minister and old saints wept and praised the Lord. They said it was the Pentecost power. That night, thousands came to Christ. Many were healed of sicknesses and diseases. People with all types of backgrounds were healed. The faith Mariah had in God was incredible. Mariah Woodworth-Etter faced many challenges, tribulations, and criticisms. But regardless, she allowed God to use her in a mighty way because it wasn't her own will, but God's.